Hello everyone, welcome to Guiding Voices. Guiding Voices is the podcast where we celebrate mentorship, perseverance, and the transformative power of education. Today we have with us one of our mentors, Dr. Samuel Bamgbose. He's a distinguished electrical engineer that has 15 years of experience spanning academia, research, and industry. Dr. Samuel Bamgbose has a PhD from Fairview A&M University in the United States of America. He specializes in intelligent control systems, power management, machine learning application in engineering. His innovative contributions to robust control designs and adaptive systems have earned him multiple honors, including recognition from IEEE and NSBE. Beyond technical achievement, he's a fantastic trumpet player. Dr. Bamgbose is also passionate about mentoring and inspiring the next generation of engineers, making him an invaluable voice on Guiding Voices today. So today I say welcome, Dr. Bamgbose. For short, we call him Dr. Dre, for people that do know him. And today we're going to be diving into his journey, and how he actually was able to bridge his learning gap from his African and experience and bridge that gap with his Western experience. So welcome, sir.
Thank you.
It's good to have you.
Thank you.
And thank you. You are so busy, and I'm super grateful for you creating time for us to have this chat with you. So first of all, my question is going to be very, very blank. Okay. And so you can tune it the way you want. Just enjoy, have the flow. We would love to hear stories as much as we can. We're teachers here, so storytelling is one of our skills that we all need to develop. So can you tell us a bit about your journey? How you went from studying in Nigeria to becoming a senior hardware developer at IBM?
Well, when I was in high school, I wanted to study computer engineering. So then a family friend came to the house and suggested to me that I could study electrical engineering because that's a broader field. And then later on, I could decide to specialize in computer engineering if I still really want to do that. So I guess I took that advice and I ended up at Obafemi University, where I studied electronic and electrical engineering. There, I had the opportunity to actually get a theoretical foundation on electrical engineering, and went to school with amazing individuals that really challenged me to be the best that I could. And then, after college experience, I tried to travel abroad for further studies almost immediately, but that didn't work out immediately. So anyway, my first opportunity was during the National Youth Service Corps, and there I had the opportunity with a power installation and servicing company. And from there, I started developing more interest in power systems. And when I was in college, I was more interested in telecommunications. That's the journey, from computer engineering, then to telecommunication, and then my first opportunity came in computer power systems installation and services. So I developed interest in that, and for me, I think my philosophy is to whatsoever thy hands finds to do it with all thy might. So now that I have the opportunity to work in the power systems, I try to learn as much as I can learn in that field, to develop myself in that field. I started enjoying it, and what I try to do is to enjoy whatever I do. That's how I excel. So I find ways to start enjoying it. So after working there for a few years, I worked with one company, then moved to the other, and then eventually I was able to get admission for graduate studies to study electrical engineering with concentration in control systems. So I continued this path of control systems. I worked on traditional control methods, synchronization control in particular. Then I continued to study for my PhD, which is intelligent control systems. And thereafter, I had the opportunity to work for IBM. And I work on high-end servers, and I worked on power, hardware, design and testing initially. Then currently I work on power and thermal, firmware and software development. So that's what I do right now.
Oh, wow. So first of all, I'm sure you remember that I was surprised when I heard you were in control. No, in power, and then in control.
Yeah.
And then I heard hardware engineer. I'm like, okay, that's amazing. That's amazing. Anyway, so that brings me to my next question. So what would you say, can you share your experience? I know by you're a very hardworking person and you have been able to climb up the ladder, in IBM. Can you share your experience working at IBM and how your role as a hardware engineer or a firmware engineer aligns with your career aspirations? I know you do love anything you find you do with all your mind, but how does that align, hardware design?
Yeah. So hardware design, I mean, like when I was growing up, the reason why I wanted to study computer engineering was because I've always loved how technology works, and especially computers at that time. When I was growing up, I didn't have much interaction with computers, so I was fascinated by that and many other technological devices. So it's always been something I look forward to contribute to development of those devices and to make them work better. So when I got the opportunity at IBM to work on high-end servers, it was something I really was interested in doing, and I had the opportunity of working with a great team of people that are trying to push the boundary of technology and make sure that our devices, our products are more reliable. I mean, and they are, regardless of the use cases or workloads, that they are still able to function optimally and even efficiently. So you use them for what you actually need them for. So we don't want to waste energy, and we want them to we want to manage energy effectively. So it's something that working from the academia and the industry in research, it's all about innovation. You want to do something novel. So in the industry too, it may not be in the same sense like in a particular deep area, but still you want to find new ways of doing something. You want to make something work better. So and that resilience that I've built over the years helped me also on the job. Sometimes what I do, we have to work on new ways of doing things, and then you have to come up with the best way to solve this problem. So, but it's always been a part of me to not give up and not even if you don't know what to do, talk to people, do research, resources. You look into what people have done. How better could you make it? So that's been my journey at IBM, working on these high-end systems, and primarily my experience has been in power, but now I do thermal too, thermal control, cooling, so that excites me, to be able to have products all over the world that have your handprints in there. So yeah, and right now I'm an advisory software developer at IBM.
Okay, you see, that's a lot, and and to see that you're in cooling, and that's absolutely amazing, and we are proud of you at any point in time. I always wonder why people feel that when you have a PhD and then move into the industry, that you don't have any skills, and I don't understand why people think that. Like, you've been in research for this long and you're moving into the industry to work, and maybe even in research, and people just feel like you're supposed to be maybe just a professor or just a teacher. Like, you can't move those skills just from research into the industry. And I find it very, very funny. People graduate after PhD and say, oh, I do not have any skills now, I need to go start to gather some skills. So thank you for also shedding light on that smooth transition from academia to the industry. It can be done. It depends on who you are. It depends on what skills you've been able to pick up along the way as a PhD person. As I always say, PhD to me is more of an apprenticeship. So than it's just a degree. There are skills you just have to learn. learning how to lead yourself, learning how to bring your thoughts to life, in engineering or whatever space you found yourself. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
So my question is that now that you're talking about cooling, what is the most exciting advancement in hardware and firmware engineering today?
Well, I'll say the most exciting one is quantum computing.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, in my opinion, because this is the technology that is going to change the way in which we solve some problems that were previously difficult to solve. So because it opens up new opportunities, superpositions, and some other ways to solve computing problems, especially in cryptography and some other areas that classical computing is not able to scale. So I think it's an area that is really developing really fast, and it will help a lot. And of course, what most of us are now familiar with, artificial intelligence. So that is enhancing a lot of ways in which we solve problems these days. So I'll say quantum computing and artificial intelligence.
You know that there's one person I've met about quantum computing. Actually, that was my first topic for PhD studies, and I was so glad when it was changed, because God knows I was looking at the maths. I'm like, God, really? But anyways, I know somebody taking quantum computing, and I'm hoping that one day we can all have this conversation around it, because I see that even quite many senior professors in university still do not get it yet, right? They still do not get it yet. And this person that I'm talking about, you do know him, by the way, is also in your university, your former university, doing quantum computing. And he talks about it so interestingly, like he enjoys it so much, and it's so abstract to many people. And I think one day we can have a conversation about that.
All right.
So my next question.
Okay.
How important is interdisciplinary knowledge? So blending hardware with machine learning. You just said it now that it's going to be able to, because see, machine learning, in today's tech space, not many people understand. Not many people understand its power, because a lot of people have developed products that use AI, like games, that are quite harmful today. We're reading a story of a boy that was able to use AI to create a chatbot of a girlfriend who he spends time with, and the girl finally advised him to shoot himself, which he finally did and killed himself. But AI has powerful use. It shouldn't just be about games, but obviously what is known is about ChatGPT. Everyone knows ChatGPT, everyone knows games, everyone knows all of those marketing things, everyone knows creating websites with AI. How important is it, especially in your space?
Yeah.
And in maybe other tech landscapes.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really the way forward to solve the most challenging problems in hardware and software development now. Because I remember working on research in applying both traditional control as well as AI to solving blood glucose problem for a diabetic patient. So problems like that are not easy to solve because you can't just rely based on instantaneous data. To actually effectively control those variables, you'll need to rely on some of historical data and historical responses to those data. And traditional systems are not easy. You can't easily utilize them to actually be able to solve those kind of problems. So to solve those difficult problems, you need AI to be able to learn from those instantaneous measurements and historical measurements, historical responses, and to actually give you better control. And there are other areas. There are some systems that are called bilinear systems. Like those systems, there have been solutions to solve them in bits. I mean, you have designs that solves them in bits, then you put them together. But then there's a problem with that, putting small things together. Whereas if you integrate machine learning, artificial intelligence, you can solve them in one piece. So those are some of the benefits of interdisciplinary knowledge. And not only in terms of that, but also for me, I've had experience in control systems, I've had experience in power, I've had experience in AI. All that is helping me on the job as well. It's helping me to find different ways of solving the problem, of thinking not just based on my knowledge in a particular field. I can apply, sometimes indirectly, I can apply knowledge that I use to solve problem in a particular field to another indirectly, and that enhances my productivity. So interdisciplinary knowledge is something that is the way forward for anybody that really wants to excel. You really need to bring in knowledge from other fields, whether directly or indirectly, to solve the most challenging problems we have today.
Yeah, thank you very much for that. And the reason I asked that question, just as a follow-up, is that a whole lot of people find themselves in certain spaces and they feel so uninterested and not willing to learn what is in that space at that time. And I just wanted you to just shine light to know that there is no knowledge that is lost. There's always a reason why you are in a space at a time, and it's important for you to pick up one or two skills, which then doesn't make that time all just wasted, right? You can always transfer skills, even skills from things that are totally out of of education, I would say, or maybe of formal education, I should say, and just moving them right into your space when it comes to your career. So thank you for that question. So if you want to reflect on your time as a student, and I mean your student back in Africa, or even your student being a student in the United States, what strategies helped you to excel in your studies and in research? Because I know you had an award by IEEE, and you got that award, and I just wanted you to reflect back. Okay. What strategies helped you?
Well, I think first, studying in Nigeria helps to build resilience. And second is that we have the theoretical foundation. Studying in Nigeria is, but we are limited on resources. We were limited on resources in terms of lab equipment, lab software, and that. But then we have we are solid in some other areas. So I capitalized on my strength and then tried to improve on my weakness. So I got more familiar with new equipment, new software to enhance the knowledge that I have. So it's about pretty much not taking no for an answer, even in research. Sometimes in research it seems like you are at a dead end. It's like the problems almost seems unsolvable, but there's a solution somewhere. You just not thought about it, or you've not just got inspiration on how to solve that problem. By the time you start digging deep into the work of how people have solved some other problems in the past, and this is also where again interdisciplinary comes. Sometimes I'm solving problem on biological systems, and I will get inspiration from semiconductor field. So you need to read deep and wide, and you've got to be resilient, which my education in Nigeria actually built in me.
It's very important, that resilience, and I think quite a lot of people do not understand the power of being resilient in everything. I mean, hard work most times supersedes intelligence.
Right.
And I was saying that I finished teaching a class this term, and I told them everywhere to study, and you could see the brilliant student, they were not performing well. And you could see the one called average student, they were excelling. and you could see hard work prevailing over intelligence in that space. And it was good to see it. It was good to see it, and to also, be able to appreciate that sometimes even owning a PhD, I always say, doesn't come with intelligence. It comes with hard work. If you're ready and willing to really do the work, you can get a PhD.
That's right.
You can get a PhD. You don't have to be intelligent. And thank you for that. We hope to transform learning so that we can have resources back in Africa. The foundation is there. The resilience is there. The willingness is there.
Correct.
The intelligence is there. I don't know what, everything is there, but the resource is missing.
That's right.
The resource is missing and everything. So thank you for that. What difference would you say lies in that education system then in Nigeria and in the US, particularly in engineering? And I mean, not just the tools, even the culture.
Yeah.
Even the culture.
Okay.
What would you say? What did you observe?
So I would say that it's the education in Nigeria, for me, from my perspective, is more analytics oriented. We do a lot of, we have some foundational theoretical knowledge and we do a lot of analysis, but here is more design oriented, and I think that's why there's more industry here than back in Nigeria, for example, because it's a lot of analytical skills that we gained, but we can also gain design skills even with the limited resource that we have. But the culture has been more tilted towards analysis in my experience and opinion. So I guess that's what I would say. I'll consider the main difference in terms of education culture.
Cool. So what about in the space of the professors? So I mean lecturers, as we call them back in Nigeria and Africa, compared to professors, in the West, in places like the UK, in the West in general.
Okay. So from that perspective, I think the focus in Nigeria should be more about students really gaining the requisite knowledge to really excel and be able to work in that field, not just getting an A. So that is very important. And this can be, it's more focused in Nigeria. It's more focused on assessment. A lot of assessment but here there's a project component that comes with most of the classes that helps students to actually internalize the concept or the material that is being taught, rather than just more of assessment, especially more so theoretical assessment, rather than application of those knowledge that's being taught. So I think the focus should shift more towards application, projects, and how to use this knowledge to make something, rather than just know this thing out, rather than know how it is done and then analyze it, but know how to make it and improve.
Right. So 3 things you mentioned there, and just to put it in perspective, in Africa the focus is more on the professor, so it's more teacher led, while in the West we focus more on the students because we want them to gain something. In Africa also it's very theoretical, so we're looking at putting things in your brain, cramming it up, and just putting there. Whereas in the West we're looking at critical reflection, so we're able to reflect more. It encourages you to reflect more, on the material. And also the next thing again is that Africa most of the time teaches how, the West teaches why and how. So and I think the question why, I do not know why it's a little bit forbidden where we come from in Africa, in the sense that it feels like we're questioning the status quo. So for example, there's an analysis going on the board. You do not have the audacity to say to the professor, why would you make that jump on integration, for example, on the limit? Why? So we have to get to the point in Africa where we're able to answer the question why without being upset.
Yeah.
We also really need to know that this is about the student and not just the professor. And when it's student focused, as a professor too, you're able to work on yourself, understand your gaps in your knowledge, and you're able to work on it so that you're able to do a better job in teaching your students. So I will see those two sides. And also I would say in Africa, teaching is not a job, it's a profession, it's a job. In the West, most people see teaching as a calling because they believe that a whole lot rests on them to be able to give the student the best and make them the best version of themselves. Whereas in Africa, teaching is just the last job. When you don't find any other job, it's the last option, which is very sad. But anyways, we're open to transform that as the years progress. So finally, as we round
I'd like to give an example of what you just described about asking questions, which is very important. I remember when I just moved here and we were in the classroom, there were Africans, there were those who from the West as well, and someone from the professor was teaching something in the class, and we all didn't quite understand the concept, and then one of the guys from the West asked a question, and the professor was trying to explain, and then he asked again, I still don't understand, and the professor still tried to explain, and he looked at us, do you guys understand? And we're like, we'll go and study it better at home, yeah, because we don't want to keep asking questions, because that's not the culture where we came from, and that's not helpful. It's helpful for us to really understand it in class, and then we can do more reflection after class rather than trying to understand some things that could actually be understood in class. So
Yes, and you know what? Sitting down with somebody, we're having a conversation to follow up on that. We're having a conversation that why are this professor upset when you ask the questions in Africa? Why are they upset? And I said that it comes with trauma that comes with going through the PhD studies. You see what I mean? So many people don't work on their trauma, so they go through pains. There's a lot of pains, challenges. There's a lot of, no social life where you're doing a PhD. You're totally cut off from everything. Just want to get this PhD. Now, when you get out, people forget the fact that they need to work on the trauma. There's a whole lot of trauma that comes with it because there's a lot of rejection. You work on papers, it's rejected. You do it again, it's rejected. And you've sweat so much on it. Maybe you spent a year trying to get the analysis done. There are traumas that come with academics. And then you want to teach somebody. As trauma response, you are angry all the time. You're just angry. You just snap if you are not careful. So those are part of the things that we need to realize and recognize that exists in our system and needs to be worked on before we're able to teach someone else, so that we don't bleed on those that didn't cut us. So thank you very much for that. And now I want to talk about mentorship. I know you are one of our mentors at We Guide Learning Initiative. We really appreciate you. And I wanted to ask that how has mentorship play a big role in your journey, maybe as a mentor yourself, because I know you mentor a lot of people, and also as someone that has received mentorship, so as a mentee, because at We Guide we advocate that teaching is mentorship, that every teacher has to position themselves as a mentor, because that is what it is being a teacher. So what has mentorship played? How has mentorship played a role in your journey?
So I think mentorship helps you to better utilize your time. That's one advantage of mentorship. You still have to be very hardworking. You still have to get things done by yourself. But mentorship can point you in the right direction rather than go on a tangent and then realizing that, maybe you need to move towards another direction or look in the other direction. Somebody that has experience and somebody that is ahead in that field could be able to make suggestions, give you advice on areas to focus on, so that you can better utilize your time. That's one advantage And also, mentorship also helps people. I mean, for me, mentorship has helped to better communicate my ideas. Or, sometimes when I was a junior engineer, you will sometimes you do something and you don't really quantify it. Yeah. So mentorship helps you to you have to quantify. If maybe you do a redesign or you make some contribution, it's not just an improvement. How much of an improvement? That's mentorship. It helps you to communicate your ideas. It helps you to focus on important things, and it helps you to better utilize your time. Some of the advantages.
Yes. Yeah. And I said that too, that mentorship is amazing because, like you said, it helps you to focus on what the right thing is. Because sometimes when you are in class that happened to me, when you're in class with extremely smart people, you're under pressure. You're under pressure to want to do well, you want to do great things and stuff like that. And then you're gaining speed in the wrong direction. You are trying to run fast like everyone, but you are not discovering who you are really as a person, what you like and what you do not like and everything. So as a roundup, I must ask this question, and it's that, how was playing trumpet shaped your approach to engineering and teamwork?
Well, I'll say the intersection between trumpet and my approach to engineering is practice makes perfect. So as with every other musical instrument, you have to practice and keep practicing, because if you when you practice, you get better. When you stop practicing, you start losing touches. So the same thing with approach to engineering. You have to keep abreast of your field. You have to keep improving yourself. You might have got an award yesterday, but you don't want to rest on your awards. Otherwise, the world has moved on. So you want to keep being impactful. You want to keep. So you have to you have to be engaged. You have to be engaged. You have to also look into the works of other people as you are also working on new things. So yes, so you have to keep working and keep learning.
So what's your final word to young people listening to this podcast right now?
Well, I'll say the world needs a lot of hardware development and software engineers. If you look around in the world today, we have computers, we have servers, we have telephone, we have smartwatches, we have, even at home, we have so many smart devices. So we have many devices that makes our world a better place to live. So, and all these are made possible by engineers. So we're definitely more engineers. But engineering is hard work. So we must recognize that. And it takes years of building knowledge and skills, and you must be patient and work through the process. So keep working at it. Don't give up. There's a solution somewhere. There's a solution. You keep reading. Keep talking to colleagues. Keep talking to mentors. Keep researching. So together we can make the world a better place.
And thank you so much, Dr. Dre. For people that might want to still connect with him, he's one of our mentors. If you're lucky enough, you can find some time on his calendar on our website. And we want to appreciate you again. Thank you for joining us today, and we appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Okay, bye for now. And until the next episode, we'll see you all. Bye.
Bye. Thank you for having me.
Bye.